starting to change a little bit, don't you?
The problem begin. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Unfinished business or correspondence, Karen?
Oh, nothing.
Thank you for keeping your records intact. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting dated July 26, 2022 as presented. Second. Call for a vote, please.
Mr. Bowler?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Pacek?
Yes. We're looking for a motion to approve invoices in the amount of $597,446.44 for the period July 22nd through August 5th, 2022. So, second. Call for a vote on that, please.
Mr. Bowler?
Yes.
Mr. Moore? Yes. Mr. Pacek?
Yes. We're looking for a motion to approve invoices in the amount of $858,548.01 for the period August 6th through August 23rd, 2022. So moved. Second. Good. Call for vote now. Please, Carrie.
Mr. Bowler?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Pacek?
We're looking for a motion that the actual gross payroll in the amount of $384,584.30 be approved for payment for the period July 17th through July 30th, 2022. So moved. Second. Call.
Mr. Bowler?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Pacek?
We're looking for a motion that the actual gross payroll in the amount of $280,173.95 be approved for payment for the period July 31st through August 13th, 2022. Second. Call for a vote on that, please, here.
Mr. Bowler?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Pacek?
Yes. We're looking for a motion to adopt resolution number 2022-12, authorizing the filing of the Commonwealth Financing Authority Multi-Module Transportation Fund application for funding in the amount not to exceed $1 million for the improvement of Service Center Road in Brookville, PA. So moved. Second. Ben, do you have anything to add to that?
This is for the improvements to Service Center Road, the road from 28 up to past the 911 center and the jail area. Specifically the area from the trucking lot to up towards the jail and 911 center. That section is in need of dire repairs, and so that would be a full reconstruction of that roadway, and also there'd be some guardrails established on the lower section of Service Center Road to make it for some safety features, safety measures. So that application has been submitted, and we're hopeful that we will get some funding for that project.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Okay, call for a vote.
Mr. Bowler?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Pacek?
Motion to submit the Human Services Plan for fiscal year 2022-2023 pursuant to provisions of Act 80 as the rules and regulations for the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services. Anybody speaking? Call for a vote on it, please.
Mr. Bowler?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Pacek?
Yeah. Motion to proclaim the month of September 22 as Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month in Jefferson County. Second. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, I could add a lot if you have a few minutes. I've been able to talk. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Mary Brown, and I'm the coordinator of the Creflo Jefferson Suicide Prevention Team. So I hope everybody in here knows that we have a suicide prevention team. And if you don't, now you will. And I'd love to see more of this population at my team meetings. We meet once a month, second Wednesday, 9 o'clock. We meet in person, we meet Zoom. I can tell you right now that I don't have anybody, first responder, law enforcement, anybody like that. I'd love to see even commission too. So I know Mr. North, were you on the one meeting I had with my team?
I was in the, one meeting and then I see you at the veteran suicide.
Yeah, I see more of Commissioner North, which is great. I think he probably got the short end of the stick and gets to go out to be on all these meetings. So it's great to see one of the commissioners at these. But you know, you guys can join those meetings. We'd love to see more of you. But I'm here to let you know a little bit about September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. September 11th is our walk. It's at the DuBois City Park. We try to raise funding for trainings. We do, it's a nice training called QPR, Question Persuade Refer, which takes about 90 minutes. We'll go anywhere in the 2-county area to provide that training. It helps, basically anybody can take it and kind of know what signs to look for if someone may be thinking of suicide. And I just heard this gentleman, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, tell me this story about his daughter, who worked for Sam as a case manager, and she helped someone who was thinking of suicide. I love that story. I don't get to hear too many of them. I usually hear later on if somebody has died by suicide, then we try to reach out to them. It gets really difficult because I don't have anything that confirms it's a suicide, but we try our best through crisis or whatnot, crisis reaching out to coroners to try to find out if it was a suicide. And a lot of people don't want that determination that it was a suicide, because there is that stigma, there is still a pretty firm stigma around suicide, but it's getting better. I gotta say, it is getting better talking about mental illness and suicide. But we have our walk coming up. You are all welcome to join us. We have some nice activities. We do have some speakers coming. We actually have, as far as I know, keep my fingers crossed, State Rep Armini. He's scheduled to speak. So if you want to come and listen to him say a few words about suicide prevention. And then we have some other guest speakers who will talk about, their experience maybe losing someone to suicide or even have attempted suicide. So we have speakers. We do a raffle basket. We also do a lot for our suicide survivors. And those are those individuals who've lost someone to suicide. So we do a couple of tables. We have resources. We try to help them any way we can. We also do a support group that I'm hoping you guys are aware of. If you don't, I'm going to tell you about it. It's once a month. It's the fourth Wednesday at 5:15. We do offer it Zoom and we offer it in person at Penn State DuBois. And I did bring a couple flyers and we'll leave them for you guys to pass around or whatever. But anybody who's lost a loved one to suicide can come to these meetings. So if you're aware of anybody who's lost a loved one, and I know it happens in both our counties. I just heard within the last week or so, we lost, I think where this person was. It was local. It was in Jefferson County.
Reynoldsville.
Reynoldsville?
Yeah.
Yes. I just heard about that one. So we're going to try to reach out to that individual. And in my world, I also pretty well connect with crisis. We ask our crisis people, once we do know if it's a suicide, to reach out. Can we support them? We do help them get into therapy if they need therapy. A lot of times they just don't know where to go. And that's the biggest thing with our team. We want to help them know where to go. If you've lost a loved one to suicide, where would you go? Who would you call? So that's something that we can help with. We offer resources. We'll help cover the cost of therapy. I also have a lot of books. I have a nice little library for those individuals who lost someone, who are also thinking of suicide. I have a nice resource. We have that support group. I have my team. We're always looking for more projects to do. We actually have a little bit of money. And I'll throw it out there at all you guys. We offer grants up to $500. Even law enforcement, if you're thinking of doing a suicide prevention project, program, we have grants. And I've offered to law enforcement to attend our CIT. Everybody's heard of that crisis intervention team training, what we just had. I know all three of the commissioners were there to see the graduation. we help a lot of times if there's officers who want to come and your department is kind of strapped for funding, we have helped to kind of back fund that. So there's a little bit of information you probably didn't know of, that we have this funding that we do try to help the community in situations like that. Any questions? And I welcome any of the commissioners to come and speak a minute or two to fight at the walk September 11th. The program starts at 1, and then we walk. It's not a long walk, so don't think we're going to walk 5 miles around B-Boys. We walk around the B-Boy City Park. So it's a pretty short walk. But I can tell you we have close to 300-400 people each year, so it's well attended. And it's a great opportunity to get out and kind of see what the community is doing for those that have lost loved ones to suicide. So I invite everybody here to come. And I do have, we just got these and I really like them, these stickers. So feel free to take one or two. Now this one, no story should end too soon. Teal and purple are the colors of suicide prevention.
Mary, I'd like to offer a comment to
Sure.
supplement what you said. During my time in the military, I saw suicide. And of all the things that need to be said and acted upon with regard to someone contemplating suicide, one of the things that I found most striking was that the people most grievously injured, the innocent people, not the people that someone maybe thought they were going to impact in a negative way. There was, they used the term collateral damage on the innocent people in that person's life. I don't think that person or those people considered how it was going to ripple through. And it's something, if someone's struggling, to keep in mind that kind of damage, among your family and friends, it's going to hurt the people that are the most innocent.
Well, and I can say when someone's thinking of suicide, the only thing, and they have tunnel vision. All they see is how can I end my pain, and they're in, could be physical pain, emotional pain, psychological pain. And you're right, they don't think outside that, but they have such a pain that they don't see any other way out. And I know this story that gentleman here told me about. His daughter helped a young person to get past that thought of suicide. And he said too that this young person was very, very angry with his daughter, that she basically stopped her from killing herself. And that's the usual response. Like, you stopped me from, killing myself, but now I still have all my problems to deal with. And then we hope that they get that help. And typically once they get the help, they start to feel better. And I like your story that she came back and apologized to your daughter and said, you saved my life, kind of thing. And that's typically how it happens. But yeah, to understand the thinking of the person who's thinking of suicide, it's just, there's so much pain, and that's the only thing they feel that can get them out of that pain.
Mary, one thing I was thinking too, for collaboration purposes, I think there's a high correlation between drug addiction and suicide too. Because the experience of every addict that I know, and I have a lot of former addict friends, right, Justin? And hopelessness is the common thread. And hopelessness is what drives suicide.
Hopeless.
I mean, the cycle of addiction is so awful. And then you add to that the clouded thinking that comes from being constantly under the influence. And so suicide's constantly being contemplated by people who are in the cycle of addiction.
And we also wonder too, is it an accidental? When they're into the drugs and the alcohol.
Right.
Is an accidental suicide. And we may never know.
And it could be a little bit of both. Like, I don't really care what happens here. I might just take a little bit too much, and if things go south, they go south.
And now you got fentanyl mixed in. And then
Yes.
that's such a killer.
I lost 2 people to suicide. It was an accident. And he's absolutely right. We're still suffering. Like, these guys took it, and I'm gonna be honest, straight on with you. I contemplated taking my own life many times when I was caught up in addiction. Only thing that held on was a little boy. I didn't care about myself. It didn't matter. I mean, I was to the point where I had the gun in one hand and a pen right in my son. A lot of people commit suicide because of addiction. I mean, and they see no hope. They see nothing to get out. Like,
You know, what story is it?
I mean, my best friend, he's killed himself. And I look at that and he's devastated. So many lives. Yeah, his suffering's done, but we're still suffering.
And it's difficult. And I sit in on these support groups and they're suffering years and years and years down. But coming to that support group, there's other people going through the same experience. And I think they get so much out of that. Have you been able to talk to someone who has gone through the same experience, who also loved a lot, also loved their suicide?
I've talked to several.
Have you?
Yes.
And I think that helps. I mean, it's not going to cure whatever, but I think it helps when you talk. You can talk to someone else that's going through the same stuff.
I agree, but my point is, I mean, I'm not saying that, but we need help before that.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, before that case, like, especially when it comes to drug addiction, like, I lost my best friend. He had the most wonderful family that he just seen no other way out. I mean, he was a school teacher at one time, played all the sports he could play, did everything right up till he got hooked on the drugs. I think about that day, how dark his day had to be. Right. I don't think his mom was affected by it, but she found him laying there.
I'm sure she's traumatized.
Forever.
And that's why we also do the suicide prevention training. It takes about 9 minutes and you get to learn what might he have done to give you that clue that he was thinking. And there might be little things, it might be big things, but we're more than happy to do the suicide prevention training. And I think even if you know everything about suicide prevention, there may be something you missed. But we do that training and
And I hope the faith community has a lot to do with what you guys do. Because you can train all you want, but if people don't have hope, and I'll tell you where hope comes from, it comes from the gospel. That's what I believe. So the churches ought to be very engaged in this.
well, and I can tell you that I just got, we lost our one gentleman. He retired. I don't know if he knew Harold Hills, like he just retired. He came all the time to our team meetings and in the walk, and he was very involved. So I've asked Pastor Robert Way, the Clifford Ministerium, so he is now joined. It is very important. I agree, absolutely, that faith takes a big place in just coming to terms with it and moving on to it. So,
Yeah.
but I do have, if you want information about my QPR, I have some flyers if anybody's interested. I got all kinds of stuff. So, all right, I think I took up enough of your time, Jen.
Okay, well, thank you very
Thanks,
much,
Mary.
Mary.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
That's great.
So let's call for a vote on this, then, please, Karen.
Mr. Bullard.
Yes.
Mr. North.
Yes.
Mr.
Yeah.
Song.
Looking for a motion to enter into the consulting engineering service agreement, amendment C 21-1 with Wynn Dawson and Foreman Incorporated in the amount of $15,000 for engineering services for the Borough of Big Run, Mitchell Avenue Street Improvement Project. So, second. Ben, you got anything on that?
Yes, this is for the reconstruction of Mitchell Avenue. It's the roadway from in Big Run Borough, 119 back towards Star Iron. And so that's, that road is in pretty bad shape, and this project will do the repairs and get it up to date.
Call for a vote, please.
Mr. Fuller.
Yes.
Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Looking for a motion to enter into the Consulting Engineering Service Agreement Amendment C 21-3 with Gwen Dobson and Foreman Incorporated in the amount of $18,500 for engineering services for the Borough of Corsica, Brookfield Water Municipal Authority, Water Street Water Line Replacement Phase 2 project.
Second.
Ben, again, go ahead.
Sure. So this will replace the water line in Corsica Borough, between Olean Road along Water Street, between Olean Road and, Pine Street. It's a short piece of, project, but, it's important because that section of water line's in very bad shape, so.
Call for a vote on that, please, Kim.
Mr. Fuller.
Yes.
Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Mr.
We are looking for a motion to enter into an agreement with Gwen Dobson and Foreman Incorporated to provide consulting engineering services for the county's FFY 2023 CDBG program. Second. Thank you. Anyone throw something at that?
Yeah, Gwen Dobson Foreman is currently the county's CDBG engineer, and also they've been assisting the county for a number of years, and so they'll continue to do that.
Thank you. Call for a vote, please.
Mr. Fuller.
Yes.
Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Pierce.
Okay, we're going to turn to public comments. Mike, Debbie, Justin, and Brad are here. Sanctity of Life. Mike, I don't know if you're the spokesman or whatever, but
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to everyone for giving us an opportunity this morning. It was very moving hearing Ms. Brown talk about some things that I think hits every organization and every professional capacity that there is. Sir, I understand totally about the veteran component. We oftentimes call it, living in remorse for the people that you've lost. It's survivor's remorse in many ways, not only in terms of battle, but in terms of people who struggle and you try everything that you can. It's really hard for some of those to keep on living in terms of losing someone that they love that's so near and dear. So my heart's out to you all in terms of that conversation, and I thank you for that. I'm working with a man right now. I'm a veteran as well. And I'm working with a man I play ball with in the Beeville area, and he struggles on a regular basis. We talk back and forth about things that mean something to him. Talks about the story without talking about the story enough to be able to live another day. So he's got his demons. And I think that most people that we come in contact with, especially in our professions, as I look around the room, we're seeing people at different journeys in their life, and I think we're all broken. For that reason, my team, Justin Buchanan, Brad here, and my wife, Debbie Cummings, we've been working in juvenile justice and working with serving humanity forever. It seems I've got 35 plus years, combined with the other folks that are in the room. We probably have over 200 years of working with people in addictions, as well as a multitude of other issues that may be complex to them. We are providing. In fact, and actually, we just got licensed last week through the Department of Drug and Alcohol Programs. We're opening a licensed drug and alcohol facility in the Sheffield area. It's going to be a Christ-centered, faith-based approach, and it's going to be holistic in terms of what we offer the services to those in rural Pennsylvania. I can tell you, as I was working on my master's and when I was working on my doctorate, one of the things that's missing is a focus in rural PA or in rural service delivery. Miss that. We oftentimes look at counties sometimes as the big three in Pennsylvania. There's Philadelphia, Allegheny, and Erie, and everybody else gets lost in the sauce. And I think we have an obligation to our own neighborhoods, our own communities, to get people involved in helping one another out, reaching out to people that are in our own backyard. So our goal was to design a program that was going to be drug and alcohol focused, that look at the whole person in terms of we were looking at being focused on 8 goal categories, the whole person, in terms of legal and sales issues. It would be substance abuse and use issues, but
could also be family issues, mental health, behavioral, and personal issues, which includes trauma and any other related diagnoses that go along with addiction. In terms of workforce and education, we will also want to have it incorporated into our treatment plans, an opportunity to look at reentry and reunification with families. So when we look at all the goal categories themselves and what we really wanted to focus on, I think everybody touched on it earlier when they were talking about their presentations. It's not just a singular approach. If there's hopelessness, it comes from a lot of different areas. In terms of addiction, that addiction drives people into a sense of, I'm never going to accomplish anything, and everybody's going to stereotype me, look at me a certain way, I'm never going to make it. So our program is really designed at looking at addiction holistically and making sure that it's a longer term program that focuses on all aspects of one's life to provide hope. The Latin word for hope is spiro. So we want to instill a sense of hope in all those that we come in contact with. We've worked with juveniles for multiple years, and I'm telling you, we're living in unprecedented times. The rules are changing, the street rules are changing, the drugs are changing, the influences of other peoples in our communities, the other people in our communities is changing. It's difficult. It's difficult right now when someone has no one to return to. Right now, we've probably got 90% of our kids cannot return home because there's nobody that wants them. When I talk to a lot of the jails, at least the county jails, when I talk to those individuals, there's a lot of gentlemen that have nowhere to turn to, or they're going to return to the same person's places and things that won't work for them. So they're going to relapse, recidivism rates go through the ceiling, and there's just no connection of the whole person. So our design has been not only based on some of the research we've done, it's really been designed on terms of getting them to believe in something bigger than themselves. For us, it's the Lord. It is them giving in to something and giving up something that means everything to them. When they start believing in something bigger than themselves, that you start to see an internalized change, not a temporary change just to get back to the street, reoffend, be back in the system. So we've seen a great success with kids. We've seen a great success even with some of the extended families that work with our kids. And our hopes and our desires to try to take some of the best of what works with adult programming, put it into place with something that we've already been proven to work. Our hopes that we can do the same thing and help strengthen communities. The key to us at Sanctity of Life, and then I'm going to mention a couple other key areas here. The key focus for us is to get a collaborative approach. It can't be singular. It can't be programs looking at money. It can't be just looking to get rich. It cannot be looked at from an ego perspective. This has got to be everyone chiming in, working together, collaborating together to help one another out. Ms. Brown, you moved me. I'm seeing faces as you talk. I would love to partner and do things with you. I think our whole organization would do that. We were sitting over here kind of bouncing around in our chair thinking, oh my gosh, it's just over so I can talk to you. So anything that we can do to help, that's what we want to do. We want to be the guinea pig, if you will. This is brand spanking new. We've licensed it. We've got pictures here. We're going to have an open house in the very near future. I want you all to please come, get a happy bus. I don't know how that would work. There's budget issues with things. Please come and see us. Do a tour of the facility. We got some brochures that you can look at pictures of what the inside of the house is. I have to tell you this, and I'm on my God kick only because we ended up with that facility. It was donated to us. It was donated to us, 23 acres. It had a mansion on it. It was from DI Crush that we got the facility, and it was part of the Marcellus Shell initiative. They packed up, they had 40 some employees. They packed up their employees. They all went back to Texas. They didn't know what to do. We had all these displaced workers. They had all this stuff going on. It was sitting there empty. And we decided, since it was donated to us, we want to do something back for the community to strengthen it. We have a great partnership with Sheffield Borough right now. Our kids are working there. We've got plans with Mr. Buchanan. He's already looking at taking landscaping and different careers to line up with them with we're going to be doing some carpentry work. We built cedar strip canoes, and we also have a folk school that we're designing to where we're bringing the arts and the traditional forms of learning and growth back into the community to give it an identity. So this isn't about a sanctity of life as a business. It's sanctity of life is because that's what we believe. And we believe we've been charged and we've been commanded to serve others. It's all about servant leadership and being selfless, not being selfish. being in unprecedented times, folks, I'm telling you, it's a tough gig when you walk down the street and you see a lot of selfish people that live under that guise. I think that indirectly contributes to some of the issues and social ills that we see today. So for us, we're opening our doors. We want this to be wide open. Come in, check a look, see what we're about, see what it's going to be about. Having guest speakers coming in and helping some of these men get back on track. Program is going to be designed for men. I'm already having some issues because we're getting a lot of phone calls. Hey, when can you expand? Listen, we're licensed for 12. We didn't even start yet, so please don't do that. We're not ready to do anything like that yet. To give you an example, our juvenile program, we received Program of the Year as nominated by the judges in the state of Pennsylvania, our second year in. We've been in that business for 9 years, and it's been a struggle. Trust me, working with juveniles and working with county balances has been an absolute just disaster in some cases. But at the end of the day, we have a lot of really great success stories. So the kids are making it. So if we got to take the shot for it, we're willing to do that to really help people become successful. So we got Program of the Year. We've had a couple. We have a girl right now training for the 2024 Olympics in terms of boxing. We have a boxing program for kids. So we're taking aggression and switching it around. Same thing with our guys. We got a lot of guys that have been around the block a little bit. So we're not worried about the threats and intimidation that go along with the business. So we're excited about giving people a new purpose, and we're excited about collaborating with other individuals that are doing like-minded things in our communities. If you would, Brad, could you I'd like to introduce Brad Gear. He is our Career and Technical Education Director. And one of the things we mentioned earlier on, and even in my part of the presentation, is how we feel workforce is critical. We had a juvenile that had $12,000 of restitution that he owed for breaking into a garage and vandalizing a Corvette. He had restitution. 7 months, 8 months.
About 7.
Okay.
6 to 7 is where
All right, let's just say 7 was on it. He had his corporate cost, fines, everything, restitution paid off through some of the workforce initiatives that we've put in place to get people back on the snide. Instead of looking at what people do wrong, we got to look at what their skills are, where their strengths come from, and get them to earn their own redemption through accomplishing goals and inspiring a level of hope versus being hopeless. So anyway, if you would talk a little bit about the workforce, I think I probably went too far. If you can throw something at me.
Well, once again, thank you for the opportunity to talk here today, guys. My name is Brad here. In our workforce program currently, I'll just kind of give you a snapshot of it and take it how it's going to expand into the adults. With our kids currently, we give them opportunities that they would never get in any other placement. I've been at several other placements in my life. We've never had these opportunities that kids have right now. We work with other agencies. CareerLink is one of our major ones. We also do a lot through OVR, where we have different work initiatives, work programs that our kids are involved in. Right now, through these programs, the kids are getting paid to learn to do these job experiences that we oversee, that we supervise, and that we set up with outside companies as well. One of the most recent that Mike mentioned was the Sheffield Township. We set that up through a My Work program through OVR, where we worked and basically co-op with the township, and we completely helped them redo their entire community park. Sheffield has a big initiative right now to try to get back on their feet and get back to where they were. We were so glad to help them in that process. Our kids work right with the township workers. They learn the skills. They were trained by them. So in addition to the skill sets, they're also having the ability to get paid while they're with us. For example, the CareerLink right now to the TANF program, our kids are making $12 an hour. Through those work experiences, OVR is a different rate based upon what program they're going with. Through our programs, our students are also able to get certified. We have a welding and fabrication program where our kids can get welding certifications through like your stick welding, MIG welding, flux core welding are the main areas our kids generate the certifications there. One of our kids right now who went through our program is just getting ready to start school at Newcastle School of Trades here in the fall. Because of his current certifications, he's already been offered a maintenance position with that school. So when he starts, so they're getting hands-on skill sets, they're getting certifications that goes along with that. So how will that carry over. It's gonna carry over the same way with the adults. We understand workforce. We have to give these gentlemen something to look forward to, something where they can generate some kind of living so they can be successful. Because if they don't, they're gonna go back to where they were prior to. So giving them a skill set so they can go out and be successful, make money, pay off fines, pay off restitutions, and hopefully maybe can stow some away for family purposes, whether it is for future endeavors or whether it's maybe child support or whatever the case might be that they might have. It's all an approach. We're also looking to do a lot of co-oping with local businesses. We've done that with our kids. We're going to do that with our adults as well. There's so many different opportunities that we can give our guys. It's a matter of getting them in there, getting them trained, and getting them to be successful in these skill sets. So in addition to welding fabrication, there is carpentry and woodworking, landscaping, culinary arts, and many others. Those are just the main ones that we're looking at right now to get our gentlemen up and running with and getting those skill sets to be successful.
So with that said, thank you, sir. With that said, with all these individual certifications that they get, we have created our own internal set of opportunities to run businesses. For example, right now we have a fisherman's cafe, so everybody gets served safe, they get to run a restaurant. They're running our own restaurant that services towards the campers, people who visit, tourists. I mean, we're in a tourist area, believe it or not. I mean, we're not capitalizing on it the way we need to. So what better way of bringing redemption, faith, and restoring one's dignity by learning a trade as well as serving the community, improving the community wrong? Because we have to work hard at getting the community to open our doors again and be redeeming in terms of the people that are returning. For a man, for a woman, for anyone to return home debt-free and have a good plan in terms of working with families, raising their children, and starting new and with a fresh start, it's our contention that is going to increase our opportunity to keep them out of the system and possibly give them and inspire them some hope going on in the future. So we're pretty excited about that piece. The last two pieces that I have, and I want my wife, this is Debbie, we had created a folk school. You heard me mention that earlier. I want to talk about what this folk school really does in terms of tradition and the arts. We're living in a time where everything is either done in a microwave, drive through, order it on Amazon, do whatever. People really don't have an understanding of how to build or to make. We are making flags right now. We are selling a lot of flags. Brad takes and Justin is responsible for going out into the community. They sell these flags. We give part of that back to some veterans institutions. We want to give all those monies back, but then we're putting all of our components on the flags themselves and any other fabrication that we do. It's called the J19 project. Joshua 19, be strong and courageous. Have I commanded you? For I'm with you wherever you may go. It's a really important piece that as our men work and design things, that we stamp it and we remind them each and every time that no matter how life becomes, in the highs and lows, that God's greater than all those things, and that they will always be strong no matter what happens, as long as they look in the right direction. So it's a symbolic way of getting them to reconnect with what it is that they're doing and it's done with purpose. So the folk school itself has a lot of different things, and I'll let Debbie kind of talk about that and some of the educational pieces. So, because she usually talks too much.
No, you see, if I don't talk first,
So
make sure you get this, if I don't talk first, they
there we go.
So, as Michael said, I'm Debbie. The folk school, to me, it started on the idea with my grandparents who lived to be 99, almost 100 years old, and they knew how to sew, quilt, build, and do all those things. So when we started the kid program, we thought, wow, this would be a neat thing for kids to understand things don't all come out of a box. It doesn't all come, with your fingertips on some kind of device. So we started with the canoes. We took a trip to Minnesota and met our boat builder, which we kind of kidnapped. He moves here and teaches our kids how to build boats, the cedar strip canoes. They're amazing. This gentleman builds canoes out of stuff you can get out of a dumpster, and they look like $1 million canoes.
Wooden dumpster, not McDonald's dumpster.
Yeah, yeah, like from a pallet factory, or you'll find strips of things. We've seen families who could not even be in the same room together, glue and staple these strips to start this canoe, finish a whole canoe, and never have an argument. They're so focused, so when they're done, it looks like this $10,000 canoe. So therapeutically, when you put your hand and your mind and your soul and everything busy on something that makes you feel like you've accomplished something, it's so powerful. So we're going to use the arts to really dig in and slow some things down for folks, because it's not a high paced thing. If you're gonna, I do a lot of leather sewing and baking, and those are things that's all hand done. So it gives you time. It really makes people have time. Conversations that you can have, counseling. We don't counsel with a file in front of us and write things down, ask how you feel. We take them fishing, we teach archery, we build boats. Anything we do is usually there's a distraction of sorts to get people to really open up and open their heart and their mind up to what it is that we do. So we've been pretty successful with that. We really believe that one of the things that's missing today is people don't look at the whole person. They're looking at addiction. We get kids, they're looking at getting them through an education or getting the behaviors under control. It's not about, it's a whole balance of things. It's not one or two things. I mean, there's so many dynamics to us. So we address all of those things, and we do it spiritually. And that's the number one thing in our lives, and what we've seen even with the kids in our program. And I don't even know how many kids we've had over the years, but multiple kids have been baptized, have asked to go to church, and they ask us. It's nothing that we force. They watch what we do. They hear us. They see. Justin's a walking testament of change, and the kids just absorb that. It's amazing how they find hope in something. They honestly, most of these folks don't even know what love is. If somebody shows them affection or attention, whether it's a good or bad kind of attention, they're in. So when they come to us, and we do the same thing with the adults, the people we work with, we love them. We love them, and we provide a safe, secure environment for them. They have to have a purpose. And to go to rehab, I had a daughter that was in rehab, and in 28 days, I'm like, what is that going to do for somebody who, you're going to go out and you're going to do 90 meetings in 90 days, and then what's going to happen? You have 4 kids, and so we include the family, and we're going to, make sure that when they come to us, we have the capability of doing, if somebody doesn't have a GED, we can do that. I'm a teacher myself. We also have Dr. Kathleen Smith, who was the assistant director of ed at Clarendon University. She's been with us for 9 years. Amazing woman. She refuses to retire into the higher ed piece. And she will also help folks, get started an associate's degree. If they don't have a high school diploma, we've helped folks get through, gaining credits to get that. Those things are accomplishments. It shouldn't be embarrassments. And a lot of times when you're about to get a job, they are. Or they feel, their family feels like, wow, they don't even have this or that. We make sure those things are in place and get them uplifted right away. It's not, wow, you don't even have a GED. What do you want to be when you grow up? The boxer Mike was talking about, 17 placements in 5 years, and she was 15. What's wrong with the system? How does this little girl in 5 years, from 10 years, this be in 17 placements? 23 meds, 13 at one time, every diagnosis you could think of. Nobody would take her. And when somebody tells us or shows us that, if they're going to tell me, I can't do it, I'm going to show you 25 ways I can do it. So we took her and shook her hand. Name is Trinity of all things. Shook her hand. What are you good at? Fighting. I said, are you any good? I said, look what I got you. She said, well, I think so. We got her a personal trainer. We got her a week after she turned 16. January, we took her 12 hours a week to Punxsutawney to a trainer. She started in January. She won Western Pennsylvania Golden Gloves in March. We took her to West Virginia. She won Hometown Heroes National Belt. That little girl ended up in the program 10 months, came home with us because I couldn't let her go. She was going to go to foster care, and that wasn't going to work. We didn't feel that would work out for her. So she lived with us. We didn't foster. She just came and she lived with us. Graduated from Keystone High School, led her to track, played basketball. She has not had a med. It'll be 5 years in October. There's nothing wrong with her. She was told she'd never be without meds, never go to a public school. There's nothing. There's so many kids and so many folks out there that are told things that believe it. And we want to take that away. Don't believe. Who are you? You're not a file. That's everybody's opinion of you. So we try to, really embrace folks, give them something to God, give them something to believe in. And then we go from there. We're totally strength-based. So they will leave our facility with, either a GED, high school diploma, certification, starting into higher ed. That's just what we believe, and we've seen success with our own kids. So we're pretty excited about the I won't say the older kids because we're just grown up kids, all of us. You know, just gonna show them that love and offer them opportunities and. That's what we do.
The cherry on top, I want to talk a little bit about Justin. Debbie did not tell the last piece of that for the sake of time. With Trinity and Mr. Burkett, we had the opportunity of meeting Justin at a gym, believe it or not, of all places. And he was there training his little boy. Trinity was also training, and it was really neat because Trinity's grandma would spit scripture to Trinity on the phone, and Trinity, being the person that she was, she would be able to recite back these Bible verses. If you're going to stereotype and profile, you'd look at this little girl and you'd think, there's nothing biblical about her, right? So, not true. Her grandma would say something, Trinity would respond, and it was back and forth, and it was Philippians 4:13 was her scripture. That was her favorite. Well, when Debbie met Justin on a snowy night one night, he met at the gym. There was only 4 people in there, Justin, his little boy, Debbie, and our little girl, I call her now. That's a big girl. But they met, and he brought his son over and showed the boxing gloves to Debbie after she told him the story of Trinity and her grandmother, and he had Philippians 4:13 on his gloves. So
That's great.
we don't believe in coincidences. We believe that you have to work hard. You have to be committed to doing what it is you're doing. Justin Buchanan is a typical and a professional example for me in terms of redemption. It's a matter of giving someone a shot and then surrounding him with love and people who want to support him to make him successful. And I don't mean that in a way to put Justin on an island all by himself. We all as human beings need that. We're all broken, as I mentioned earlier. We all need one another, help each other out. It's not about being better than anyone. It's about serving others to make sure that they can rise to the level of their potential. Justin was a guy that came in thinking he would never work with kids. I'm going to tell on you about that because he said, I will never do this. This is not going to be me. I can't do it. I'm going to probably go back to jail. I don't know what I'm going to do, but this is just not me. He learned that job in a very short period of time, and he's been impactful. He runs our Bible studies, which we have already seen in terms of our kids wanting to go to Bible study and being invested. He runs those. He calls in and he checks on kids. You can see the heart of the man going to run solo. This is about an organization that wants to really help communities grow in many ways, shapes, and forms. We really want opportunities for people to show their worth and that can prove that the fact of redemption is true. And it holds a lot of weight in our community. So, Justin, if you would take a couple minutes, a little bit, please, and share your piece. And then I promise you I will shut up. I'm done after that.
But I just want to share a little over 7 years ago. I was caught in addiction for over 15 years of my life. I had no hope. I've lost several people to suicide. I lost my cousin to an overdose. To be honest, I wasn't scared to go to jail or prison because I figured I was going to die of bleeding. In and out of rehabs, into a mental hospital. I lost everything. It didn't matter to me. Then, again, I told you, I had one thing. So it's a little kid. Felt what's going to happen to him when I end my life. And how do you sit down and write a suicide note? Tell him to involved so much. You're not going to read it. And it kept me moving. And thing with me, I destroyed everything now. I kid you not, I was in my last not just last rehab, the rehab before. I burned every bridge. My first marriage. I'm thinking, this is an addict thinking, how can I get out of this rehab and where they ain't gonna blame it on me? I was sick. They didn't know my age. I was 35 years old. They didn't know my age or nothing, so they couldn't weed me off nothing. So there's a big guy talking about shooting dope. I'm like, he is my way out. I'm gonna start a fight with him. He'll kick me out. My parents will understand. My family will understand. So that's exactly what I did. And they didn't kick me out. They called them. They said, someone called my wife. So they did. I said, listen, I'm coming home. I said, I'm learning how to do more drugs in here than I am on the streets. And she goes, Gus, you don't have a home. You don't have a son. And I knew
Because I was sober at that second, how many people I was destroying, but I can't help it. You guys don't understand, they can't help it. It's a set path, they're on a set path. I promise you, these people hate themselves. But I couldn't help it. I went back to and trust me, I wasn't religious, I didn't want to hear about God. And I went back to my room, I just hit my knees, just, oh my God, please. Just please show me you're real. And I'll follow you the rest of my life. Just please show me something. Lady walked in and she's like, Justin, can I talk to you? I'm still mad. I said, do I have a choice? She said, no, just listen. She's like, pack your stuff. So I thought she'd kick me out. She's like, no, we're moving you to a better place. And I knew that was God right away. But I didn't understand it. I didn't understand. So I went to another place. Long story short, I lost my grandma that raised me when I was in that rehab. She didn't even know where I was. She was asking for me in her deathbed. And all she wanted to do was see me one last time. But I couldn't see her. She passed away, so I ran right back to my addiction, lost my wife, lost my son, my best friend shot himself. So I'm like, listen, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to end my life. And I tried to. I went 4 overdoses. I went down the streets. I was dealing drugs in Pittsburgh. I was held at gunpoint. And my sister, she taught me to join this place, Team Challenge. I said, again, Addie, thinking I'll give her 30 days. She was a year. 30 days, play God. I went up there, agreed for 30 days. I didn't know it was faith-based, guys. I was mad. I'm like, how do you end up here again? Again. And I'm sitting there thinking, and I thought, well, I'm here, I might as well start reading this Bible. And I read the book of John, must have been 4 or 5 times. And I'm sitting in chapel one morning, and I'm sitting there thinking, and again, rehabs are just like jails and everything else. They try to get their clicks. That wasn't me this time. I got a son that's counting on me. I got to do something right. Something. And I'm sitting there reading, and I'm thinking all these things. What happened? Listen, nobody wants to be an addict. Nobody wakes up some morning and says, yep, that's my life. Nobody. And I'm thinking, what happened? I'm just examining my life. I'm thinking, I shouldn't even be here. Then I read the book of John. John 10:27. My sheep hear my voice. They follow me. Listen, and no one will ever snatch my hand. And I just dropped to my knees, and I knew it was God. I knew He was there the whole time. He didn't walk away from me. I walked away from Him. And I just went through that bed. I'm sorry for hurting the people I hurt. I never meant it to be this way. And I vowed to Him, when I get out, I work for Him now. I don't work for nobody else. I'm going to show people how to get clean. I'm going to show people what love looks like. And when I got out, you guys know more than anything, I caught a charge after I was clean. I was looking at, what was it? You have 2 to 5? I was looking at 2
I
to
was trying
5.
to send you. I didn't know you.
I was looking at 2 to 5. And I remember, I was going, I'm like, I'm done. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the resources to go get a good lawyer. So I got a public defender. And I'm begging, listen, put me in probation. I'll show these guys. Put me on there for 10 years. I'll show them I'm different. Justin, he called me on Thursday night. He's like, you got to show up Friday. You got to plead guilty. I said, I'm not pleading guilty. Even if I am guilty. I'm not doing it. He says, they can throw you in for a long time. I said, listen, I get that. I said, I don't want you talking anymore. He goes, you're no lawyer. I said, you're right, I'm no lawyer. But I'll take it. He was like, well, if the judge gets mad, if you throw you in longer, I said, I'll take that chance. I remember when I told you about following Jesus, I remember I'm not gonna tell you I wasn't upset. I remember going on my pastor, I'm crying, I'm like, listen, man, I'm going to prison in 5 years tomorrow. He looked me straight in the face, he said, Justin, he goes, remember where Jesus took you. Remember where He brought you out. He's like, if you go there, tell people about it. I thought, this man's sick. Even, I was hoping I feel bad for you or something. No, he didn't feel bad for me at all. But that's what I needed to hear. So I woke up. That's what I was gonna do. And I walked in the room and I see a guy to the left of me staring at me. I thought, I didn't even say nothing. This guy's already not. It was Mr. Bird. He comes up to me and goes, what's your deal, Justin? I said, not that I expect you to do. He said, I've been lying for 35 years of my life. I'm gonna tell you, I got a second chance with God. I said, I'm gonna prove this area alone. I said, I promise you that. I said, if I go to jail, I'm still gonna prove it. Doesn't matter. And thank God I went to drug court. I went to drug court, but I also, people think, well, Justin, I don't struggle with addiction anymore. I would tell you guys the honest truth. I don't struggle with addiction. I struggle because I see the addicts still hurting. I see their families, but like Mike said, he called me. I was in Buffalo working with my sister, and he said, Justin, he goes, I got a job for you. This is come work with the kids. I'm not good with kids. I'm good with addicts. He says, you'll be great with kids. And first 6 months was the hardest 6 months. Like, it's hard. But then I can relate to these kids. I remember, I'll never forget, up in Potter County, boy, he come in, he's a big boy. I walked right in his room. I said, you here for time or you here for change? And they all say change. I said, we'll see time though. I said, I'm telling you, you're gonna get to know me, you like me, you hate me, one or the other. This kid did great. I did the landscaping with him every day. He was landscaping. I got him. He was, I got him where Bible studies. I said, all right. I said, I want you to speak in front of our kids. He's like, I want to speak to someone else. I said, no, you're going to speak in front of the kids. You're going to tell us all the kids what you've been through. I said, if you don't tell the kids here, why would you tell people out there? He did. He's been through some stuff that we haven't been through. And I ended up taking him to courtroom. So he took him to Potter County, and he did great. I sat there and cried the day he left. And he lost his brother to addiction. And his mom called me, Justin, please help him. Please help him. Please help him. So I call him, I talk to him a lot. We keep a message. I got a text message just this spring. Hey, Justin, I want to thank you for holding me accountable. I want to thank you for talking about God. He's like, I know. He's like, I was skeptical about what you said, but he goes, I believe that wholeheartedly. He's opened his own landscaping business. He's running his own business now. I believe I will always help out. Work or no work, it doesn't matter. I will always help out. But I want to help people in our local area. I mean, come on. Let's be real. How many people have not been affected by drugs? Everybody here either knows an addict or related to an addict. Let's be real. So why don't we start right here? Start right here. I can promise you, the team we have right now, we'll give it our best. We'll do everything we can. I will hold them accountable. I will do it, what we do, but they need to learn how to work. Because when I first got out, I didn't work for years. I didn't. You need to have both. And that's by God. That's workforce. That's people come along and teach with me. Now I don't struggle. I can go back to Broadway. I know I can't hang out with people. We have nothing in common. No. We have nothing in common. They know that. You don't think many people from Broadway tempted? Hey, Justin, you don't think I've got them phone calls? Hey, we got some. I don't care. You can tell. And I told them just like I told anybody else. Tell them done. They're going to hear about me, but not the way you guys think they're going to hear about me. I believe I had to go through all that to help other people. I just, I want to thank you guys, but I'm telling you, this program's going to be different. This program, you got to build a program around heart. It's not a job. If you don't have heart to help nobody, it ain't going to work. I see it with these kids. When Mike and Deb come up here, I'm like, listen, I barely got out of high school. These guys got degrees and everything else. I had nothing to offer. Now you ask me, I don't think that way. I will take a kid and I will show him tough love, but I will guide them the whole way up through. These kids need, love changes everything. I mean, I believe that wholeheartedly. Tough love, but you gotta be forward with these guys. You gotta help with addiction. Like I said, I know if I was caught in addiction now, I wouldn't be here. I know that would kill me. So we gotta, especially in the community, how many families are just devastated from the drug addiction? You're right, suicide. But it all ties together. I'm telling you, you start working on addiction, suicides will be down. I want us as a community, and it's not just us, it's all of us coming together. It's all. Come and see the place. I'm telling you. With God, with good people around you, I'm not the only one to make it big. I told my best friend, and this is as little as me just taking in. I was actually down in Florida speaking to the president, and he lost his girlfriend to an overdose. He went to Pittsburgh and shot up and hit him. He tried to kill himself. And he went to many 30-day programs. But this time and I don't speak in AA yet, but I was asked to speak and said, if I can talk about God, I will. If I'm not free. So I went in there and my buddy Matt was there and I shook his hand. I said, you all right, buddy? And I let him go. Listen, I got to be careful myself. The next day I was actually going to a Bible study and I seen him again. I'm thinking, God, what do you want me to do with this kid? So I said, Matt, I don't have to tell you how bad it was. I said, I used to do drugs with you. I said, come to this box. So we started working out. I got him in the lifting, got him in the Bible studies, and I had to move out of the place. I got a place in Treasure Lake. And I called Matt, and I thought about him. I said, he's still young and recovered. He's living with his mom. I said, hey, I called him up. I said, Matt, I said, with this mean landing here, I said, I would love for you to come move in with me. And, we work together the whole time. And I said, I want you, before you say yes or no, I want you to think about it. I said, listen, the drug's not going to kill you. I will kill you if you bring drugs into this house. I have a little boy. I have things. So you don't have to worry about the drugs. You just celebrated 5 years. 5 years. You gotta believe that people can change.
How many kids call you that
All
left the program?
kids call me every day. I wish they'd quit calling me after 10, 11 o'clock at night, but they call me every day. And I'll pick up every time.
They've been gone years.
Yeah, that hurts me. I got a kid bawling their eyes out saying, you're the father I've never had. I had a little kid this big not too long ago. And I have to wrestle with this kid a lot. Just a little guy. And he comes up, and I told him, and I'm a big baby. I'm sitting there, I said, listen, I'm going to Florida for 12 days. And Jeff can, he comes up, he's bawling. He goes, I can't do this without you. Wraps his hands around me. I said, what do you mean? You can't get restrained without me? I said, I can get somebody to help you out. He says, no, the whole thing. I said, well, I'm hard on you. He goes, I need that. He called me. I picked on him. These kids, these kids need to know what love is. I'm not gonna lie. First 30 days in our program, I'm the most hated person. And I'm all right with it. Because you realize I do love you. I do anything for you. There's boundaries. There's things to set up before you show truth. I'm just hoping you guys will come look at our place. Let's start here in the local towns.
And folks, again, thank you so much. For the sake of time, the stories are endless, but we end with this. But I want you all to know we want to do something unique for you. This isn't a shot in the dark. It's not that it isn't proven itself in other aspects of our performance or duties. So we're looking at it. It's brand new. I want everyone to please come to the open house and see what it is we're going to do. But we're scheduled to open sometime mid-September. That's when we kind of put the initial date. We're licensed right now. We could take people now, but we've put it on hold until we get the right people in place. Justin's going to be one of those key people there. We're looking for opportunities for other people who want to share their stories and help get guys on the right track, help the community, help probation, help the court systems, be able to put people back on the right path. That's all. So that being said, I promised I'd got up 7 times and I lied. I'm sorry, forgive me. We're open for any questions or comments.
Is the facility located?
Located in Sheffield, Virginia, sir. Right next to the high school.
Guys have like a hotline, suicide hotline?
No, we don't have a hotline, but you would think we do, sir, but their phone rings. By word of mouth, there are folks that call, with their parents that call us on a regular basis, and just out of the blue and asking what they should do with their child, and getting stuck with systemic issues of getting their kids away.
You guys have had existing programs already, so it's like,
We have an existing program.
Okay.
Yes, we work with juveniles right now. We started that about 9 years ago.
and is that under the same name?
It will be under tailored diversion program, but Sanctity of Life is our adult male rehab.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Taylor's the umbrella, and then we have, that's what it's called, because then we have folk schools under it, this is under it.
And the reason we're small, again, it would be easy to maximize beds, and, you know, we get a lot of push from business-minded folks that say, listen, look, you're having some successes, build this, or add more. What we found, you can't get quality with quantity, especially in today's day and age. We're having a difficult time. I don't know if anyone else experiences it, but people don't show up for interviews. When they do show up for an interview, and you just look at them and say, did you know you were coming to an interview today? And you dress like that. So they don't even come prepared professionally with, and I'm old fashioned because I'm old. So I think that there's a level of respect that goes to that level of professionalism. And then we have that population of people who don't show up for a job at all. So everybody's struggling, and I know that other agencies like ours, working with youth or working in human services in general, they're having the same issues. Forgive me for being kind of looking tired today. We were up all night, as a matter of fact, at a psych center with a young man who was struggling. His story is deep, which I won't get into, but we were there all night long, and the issue was the mental health system playing the system of where the bed was. So those were some of the difficulties that we have. So, other questions?
How does somebody get referred to your program?
Well, in terms of, we have county contracts with our juveniles, which I'm not here to present about today, but we establish county contracts in Pennsylvania with select county. It'll be the same way with our adult males. What we have tried to do, and working alongside some of the faith-based community, we're planning on churches, talking to churches, because we do believe in our own backyards we have people in need. We can mission those individuals. So our goal is to really talk about our organization in a way that maybe we can catch them on the front end before they actually are incarcerated, or before they enter the justice system in general. So referrals can come through the single county authority. They can come through drug and alcohol commissions. They can come by self-referrals. They can do a lot of different ways, maybe even through the court systems itself as a diversion type of effort. So.
All right, well, we appreciate you coming.
Thank you, sir.
We've got to kind of zip along here. We have another meeting to start a few minutes ago. But anyhow, so if there is any questions or conversation after this meeting, if you want to just grab them and chat with them, it would be awesome. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
is there any other public comments at this time? Any questions from the press?
If we'll go reach another guys today, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So with that, then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the public. Thank you. Call for vote, please.
Mr. Porter.
Yes.
Yes. That's not my city.
Yes, today.
Yeah, well, the GPS with this address will take you to the front building.
We stuff kids on the hill. That's the way we like it. It's outside our mind.
Here, you can have this.